Hello, this is Ghost Rider 615, and I'm doing something that we rarely get a chance to do again in life, is have a do-over. It seems that 14 people viewed my prior video on this subject, which has now been deleted to be replaced by this. To be African or not to be African, that is the question. All people all over the world throughout history have shared in common the fact that they belong to a culture of origin. That is a universal reality. Another equally important universal reality is that there are many, many different cultures in the world, and each is unique. The uniqueness of a culture is what gives specialness to its members. The members of a culture are bonded together by their shared culture, which gives them a sense of collective identity. We are an African people, simply reveals that there are values, traditions, and a heritage that we share because we have a common origin. The cultural process is naturally ongoing, which allows people to continuously affirm their connectedness through being linked to their origins. The descendants of Africans all over the world are like the punch-drunk boxer who has been hit by everything, including the ring post. He does not know where he is. He may not know that he's still in the fight. He cannot protect himself from further attack. He cannot see clearly. He may not even know where his own corner is. He moves about on instinct alone. He falls. He is down for the full knockout count. He has a reserve. He holds on to his opponent in order to gain time to clear his head, to renew his strength. He gradually regains clarity. Strength returns to his weary limbs. Suddenly, he strikes out. He is victorious. Most Africans do not really understand what we were doing when we came under attack from outside the continent. We do not know how the attack was conducted or why. We remember some of the brutal images, but not the most devastating ones. The truly destructive ones were silent and invisible. They were the enslavement and colonization of our minds. Our memory has not been restored. Our vision about these things are still blurred. We are still struggling to get back into the fight. The continuity of our cultural identity has been interrupted cruelly and unnaturally by the experience of slavery. We as a people are still suffering from this crime because we have not been allowed to find our way back to the sense of cultural identity and continuity, which would transform us into a unified and whole people. We have not been able to function in the world with a collective consciousness that naturally imparts a strong sense of cultural roots. The physical pain and emotional hurt is beyond measure, but it was the mental assault and disorientation and loss of consciousness that disabled us most. Our deepest relationships, our social bonds, our solidarity with African family were deliberate targets for our oppressors. They knew that alone we were vulnerable, but that together we were invincible. They did their jobs extremely well. They designed a system to make us lose the very foundation of our collective identity. The very essence that glued us together was attacked mercilessly in very calculated, systematic, and sophisticated ways. Our cultural names, our understanding of the universe, our language, our stories, our proverbs, our worldview, anything that preserved the ties that bound us together were crushed. The term maafa is a Swahili word which is for great disaster that we are now using to reclaim our right to tell our own story. Maafa refers to the enslavement of our people and to the sustained attempt to dehumanize us. Because Ma'afa has disconnected us from our cultural origins, we have remained vulnerable in a social order that does not reflect our cultural identity. We are people of African ancestry living in denial of who we are. We have lost our strength as a people. We are losing our strength in our children to a system which has miseducated them. Our families are disintegrating before our eyes. Our numbers are growing in the statistics of drug addiction and incarceration. We believe that the restoration of our collective memory is a revolutionary act of liberation. It is the solid ground upon which we can build economic and political power and return to a sense of purpose and destiny. To be African or not to be African, that is the true question. We are at a fork in the road. Many people of African descent have chosen to try to go at it alone or try to become members of someone else's ethnic family through integration and assimilation to alien aims and authority. They are still our brothers and sisters. They have a right to choose the path that they think is best for themselves. For me, to abandon African identity, even if years have dimmed our memory and our perspective about it, is to choose to abandon the fruits of the labor of our ancestors and to leave the family our nurturing source. It is to choose to not to be, not to exist. We are only at a fork in the road. We may be at the last moment in time when we can still marshal our forces, regroup, and teach ourselves the things that we know and that we need to know, create a reunion and a resurrection of our family. The farther we move from our cultural source, the weaker we will become. To be African or not to be, that is truly the question. It is round 15 of a 15-round fight. Are we really overwhelmed? Do we really want to win? Do we believe that we can take charge of ourselves? Do we even have the will to do so? This is perhaps our moment of truth. We must come together as a family. We must do all that we can do to uplift our people. Otherwise, we are still denying who we are and bringing dishonor to our family name, to our ancestors. The answer to our social dilemma is resocialization of our people into a cultural value system that affirms our spiritual being. Our ancestors did not have the freedom to affirm their cultural heritage. We now have that choice. In the African view of life, it is our responsibility to honor their name, the ancestors. Our ancestors are calling us home, back to our cultural self. We must begin the process of Sankofa. And in case you don't know what that is, it is not taboo to go back for what you left behind or you forgot. One of the principles of Sankofa is learning from the past to build the future. This was a gift from Griot one of the elders, and something that I felt I had to honor, and I hope that you can glean from that some principles and some things that make you remember who you truly are. And this is Ghost Rider 615, and I thank you for hearing me again. Out.